Hello everyone, I'm Javante Pete, aka Mr. Tax Money Matters, and I'm here today to tell you or give you the sauce on how to invest in a crowdfund deal. Okay? So, with a crowdfund deal, you have four major parts, right? You want to limit your exposure, you want to know the investment terms, you want to diversify your portfolio, and you also need to know the business model. The most important part of an investment fund or a crowdfund is the business model. Now let's talk about where crowdfunds come from. Crowdfunding was started under the Obama administration to allow non-traditional investors to be able to invest. So before that, you would have to have $1 million in assets. You would have to have big accounts already been established as an investor to be able to invest in big funds or different markets. Kind of pretty much blackballing us out of the game, right? So under the Obama administration, Obama said, hey, there's people out there who want to make these investments, so let's try to open this up. We don't think this is fair. That's how you got the big crowdfunding thing, right? So let's go into it. First thing, you want to limit your exposure. Limiting your exposure means to make sure that you restrict your investments to about 5% of your portfolio. Not of the crowdfund portfolio, but your portfolio, right? Because with 5%, maybe 10% if you want to be, if you want to invest aggressively, then I would say 10%, but mainly 5%, okay? The second thing is you want to, let's get it right here. You want to know the business model, right? So it's knowing the business model, which is the most important part. You always want to read the disclosures, the memorandums, right? And don't be afraid to ask questions. So I'll give an example of what reading disclosures or knowing the memorandums. You had Jermaine Morrison, right? Jermaine Morrison, aka Jay Morrison, started the Tulsa Real Estate Fund. With that fund, if you look under the disclosures, the fund gets 50% of the profits, right? Goes back to the fund, correct? And then Jay Morris gets 10%. His management firm gets 10% of the management fees. So that's 60% out the gate with the fund, with the profits of the fund. So automatically, when the money comes in, 60% goes out, 50% to the business, and then 10% to Jay Morrison and his crew for managing the fund, right? So those are the type of things that you want to know. That'll also tell you what your ROIs is, which is return on investments, inside of the disclosures and inside of the memorandum. So with that, you want to, one, know the disclosures, right? Read them. Two, read the memorandums. And three, you always want to ask questions in a fund if you particularly don't understand something. So read the disclosures. I'm gonna skip through these. I was gonna put some discoverables in there, kind of the questions or the things that we just discussed. All right, so the next thing is, we missed one. We skipped one. So the next thing is going to be diversify, right? But let's just click on diversify. So the other thing we want to do is diversify. So with diversifying, you do not want to put all your eggs in one basket, right? You want to kind of diversify in different funds. So don't just put your 5% or your 10% into one crowd fund. You want to put your 10% or 5% into multiple funds so that you can diversify your portfolio so that all your eggs are in one basket. Meaning that if this if this deal doesn't do good, then you have this deal to maybe rely on. You might be negative 15% on this deal, but then you're positive 20% or 25% on another deal that might even your portfolio out. Okay? So with that, remember, we don't want to put all our eggs in one basket. We want to diversify our portfolio, right? So we went through all four of these pretty much. So in a crowdfund, so to recap, with the crowdfund deal, you want to limit your exposure, right? That means you don't want to put no more than 10%, 50%. Just depends on your portfolio. It depends on your portfolio. The suggestion is 5% to 10%, correct? The investment terms. You always want to know the investment terms, right? So let's go through the investment terms one more time. investment terms. You want to know if it's preferred stock or common stock. You want to know if it's pre-money or post-money valuation. So pre-money, post-money evaluations mean pre-money valuation is going to have, there's going to be, okay, this is what we're projected to make, or this is what the fund is projected to do. Post-money means that, okay, the money is there now. Post-money is normally happens after the first initial couple of investments, right? So then always know your evaluations, right? Always evaluate, always look over your investment that you're thinking about funding, because you need to know what the return on investments will be. You need to know the terms, how long it's going to take, what you can do and what you can't do. All right. So that's post-money and pre-money. Also preferred stock and common stock. We need to know what type of stock that this fund is going into. Okay. And then I'm just going to put some objectives in there. Okay. So to recap, limit your exposure. Know your investment terms. You want to diversify your portfolio. That means put your funds into different baskets, put your funds into different funds so that you don't have to rely on just one deal, correct? You want to know the business model, which is one of the most important parts. Know how the money is going to be returned. It's kind of like knowing the game, right? The rules to the game will be in the business model. What percentage goes back to the fund? What percentage gets paid out? What does the managing fund get? The managing team get as far as percentage of the fund. Okay. So again, I'm Mr. Tax Money Matters. This is how to invest in a crowdfund. I'm gonna open the floor up to any questions that may need. We're here. We might as well ask questions. I don't want anyone to leave here without having this knowledge. Okay. So I may quiz you at the end. I may just ask you a question. Pop up on you. This is how we're doing it. We're here. We're going to figure this out. I'm your man, Mr. Tax Money Matters.